Now it's my great pleasure and my distinct honor to introduce to you two people who I love very much. One's a hottie and one's okay. Joe and Rachel, two crazy ketos.
Appreciate you. Oh my goodness, you're not allowed to get me crying.
My name is Joe.
And I'm Rachel.
And we're two crazy
ketos. Obviously, right? So excited. And actually, we're here today to pose a question to you guys. Are we still having fun? Barb, Russ, friends from back home in our church, are we still having fun?
Yeah. Are you guys having fun this weekend, by the way? Because there's been some cool stuff.
Really awesome.
I mean, really, really cool stuff. Some of it's going to be repeated because, of course, we didn't know what they were going to say, but there's a common theme that's coming along.
There's the theme, yo.
And what we really want to talk about is, why do people quit keto? And what can we do to stop that?
Because we want to stop that.
Right? Why are we quitting keto? Because what we're talking about with having fun is, when we stop having fun, we quit.
Yes, we do.
Right? And we want to address those kind of things. So we want to start off with, basically, we're just average people. We both lost over 100 pounds on the ketogenic way of eating, and we decided to start a YouTube channel as a joke because we are all about community. We really believe that you cannot do this without community. So that's why we really ran our YouTube channel. We're on Instagram, on Twitter. We have a website, and we also, with the help of Nisha Berry, started Mighty Networks because there is no advertisements on there and there is no censorship on there.
It's pretty awesome.
We have an amazing community there, but we do have a couple of disclaimers.
Who are we, Joe? And who also, first of all, who aren't we?
We are not doctors, nurses, or health professionals, but there are some amazing doctors, nurses, and health professionals in this room. Everything that we talk about here and on our channel and everything is based on personal experience and also what we have learned from people like Dr. Boz and Dr. Berry and Dave Feldman and others. The other thing is, like I said, it's based on personal experience because we've tried it all.
Every single diet. I challenge you to find some way of eating that I have not tried.
We recently realized that we did a diet that probably nobody in this room has ever done.
The Progresso soup diet. Has anybody just taken 3 of anything in a can and been like, this should be enough food for the day, and this is super cheap, and I have a double coupon special, so basically I could feed our entire family for nothing. So we'll just do that. But guess what? High five, we gained weight on that. I mean, who gains weight on 3 cans of soup?
Basically, though, a little bit about our story is we have both been morbidly obese for most of our lives. This was me after losing 40 pounds. My last, I like to say known weight was 285 pounds, but it is my known weight. Because when I weighed 285 pounds, I was a size 42 pants. The problem was I got all the way up to a 46, but I never got back on a scale because who can relate to this? If you don't see it, it doesn't exist.
I'm floating in the river of denial, yo. Denial.
So when I saw 285, I swore I would never get on that scale again because I don't want to see 300. I grew up in a family. My mother was a medical oncologist. My father was a clinical chemist. And unfortunately, I was heavy from the time I was 10 years old. I remember at 10 years old shopping in the husky section of Chwatsky.
Special sections for me.
Growing up in the 70s and 80s with parents in the medical field, everything was about health or whatever they were being taught was healthy. So we grew up in the low-fat craze, the introduction of SnackWells, and in our house, there was no salt. You didn't salt your food. You didn't cook with your food. If a recipe called for salt, you didn't put it in there. Delicious. We had no salt in our house. In addition, we grew up with margarine because it was heart healthy and it was cheap. Okay? We didn't just have skim milk, but we had powdered skim milk.
Delicious, right? Like, let's make a milkshake with that. That'll be delicious.
Dessert for us was zucchini bread, homemade with
But not the
zucchini grown in
good
the backyard.
kind.
Yeah,
Not
no
with, like,
sugar.
yeah.
And so what that resulted in me was sneak eating. I became a sneak eater. Whenever I was around friends, I would just eat whatever I could. And when I went off to college, it was even worse because now I had nobody telling me what I could eat. So I ate Burger King every day. I bought every sugared cereal there was. I was buying Ragu spaghetti sauce. And that was my life. And I gained weight and I gained weight and I gained weight and I gained weight. And then I would occasionally lose it. I did Nutrisystem and Jenny Craig and all those. I did the don't eat diet. I did the workout diet.
Don't eat. That's a fun diet, right? Just never eat again. Just stop eating.
Nothing worked. Nothing worked for me. And then I did have a car accident. When I was 20 years old, I shattered my ankle in over 30 places. I spent 2 years on crutches. I lost all the blood supply to my bone. And I was told, you will never walk again. By the grace of God, I was able to walk 2 years later, but I do walk with a severe limp today. That's why people will say, you'll see me limping all the time. One calf is twice the size of the other because of this injury. But it really did affect a lot of my life. But in 2008, Rachel and I got married.
We got married.
So second marriage for both of us. And I really thought things were going to change. This, by the way, this picture with us with our 3 kids at the time, this was us after we lost weight. We thought we were going to head it in the right direction, but unfortunately, we really weren't having any fun.
No, we weren't. We continued to grow in weight. As you can see, this was after the wedding and after whatever was the last crash diet. And unfortunately, we had inside of us a desire to be a certain kind of parent. It was our heart. I've worked with children for 30 years. I wanted to be the mom playing on the playground with her children, but I was always the mom on the sidelines. I was on the sidelines of my children's life. I was like, you go play on the slide. I'm gonna cheer from you from here because I can't get on that equipment. I can't climb up. Mommy might hurt herself if she gets up there. And it was really frustrating to never have any energy and to always feel like you were falling short of the goals that you had for yourself as a parent.
Yeah, and life wasn't fun. I lost my dad at the age of 64 for brain cancer. I told Rachel when we got married, I do not plan on living to be 65 years old. So we already figured we'd lost half of our marriage because we got married and I was 36 years old when we got married. So I didn't think I was going to live that long. My grandfather died early. My dad died at the age of 64. And she had actually planned, we'd already made plans. By the age of 50, Rachel would be pushing me around in a wheelchair because of my car accident. From the time I had my car accident until I found keto, I was on an arthritis pill called Arcadia. Took it 3 times a day, cost me $80 a month after insurance for that. In addition, I had a daily prescription for Oxycontin and Vicodin, and I lived on that for 25 years. It was not any fun to live that way. And what it ended up giving me was very, very limited mobility. This is me, I believe I was 40 years old in this, and the only way I could do a theme park was in a scooter or in a wheelchair. In fact, Rachel at our honeymoon at Disney World had to push me in a wheelchair.
Because once you go Rachel, like that's it for you. Like you couldn't even walk. That was our honeymoon, all right? I mean,
this is me with my nephew, and this was our life. I never wanted to take for granted the fact that I was able to walk again. So I pushed myself, even against the advice of my doctors. So I became a high school football and lacrosse official. I love it. I love working with children. I love helping the kids learn the rules and being out there for them. But I was heavily dependent on medication to get past through all of this stuff. I ended up getting to, in 2017, to the point where I could not walk anymore. I went to Rachel that February and I said, I think this is the last year I'm going to be able to do lacrosse because I just can't walk anymore. It took 2 days to recover from a game, but I had a game every day. And the doctor said, you at this point need a fusion or an ankle replacement, which is going to take at least a year recovery. The problem was I made my money as a high school official and as a landscaper. So I looked at Rachel and was like, I hope you're going to be able to support us on your $2,000 a month salary.
Yeah. And I had a similar experience as Joe. I was heavy my entire life. I grew up in a family of Southern cooks, right? Like you would have tea and it wasn't done until you could stand a spoon up inside of the pitcher, right? And it could stand by itself. So that's how it was. All of the fat, all of the carbohydrates. It was, and our identity was connected to what I bring to the church potluck. And this is grandma's banana cream pie recipe. And do you understand, if we don't make it, all of this sugar and all of these carbohydrates, like we're gonna lose ourselves as a family. So that's what we would cheer on. And there was a severe dependence on medication, not just for my family, how many people have gone to Thanksgiving dinner and we've played who's sick with what this year, right? Like we would come to Thanksgiving in this family and it would be like, this year somebody's got diabetes, somebody else had a heart attack this year. It's like, I almost didn't want to go to holiday gatherings because I didn't want to find out which aunt or uncle was sick. But I also suffered with crippling anxiety, depression, social anxiety for my entire life since elementary school and been medicated for that. I attempted suicide 2 times. Are we gonna get real in this place? Are we able to talk about mental health and what keto can do even for that? Because I'm alive today. I'm so thankful for that. But there was a time in my life where chronic illness was just what I thought I was always gonna have to live with.
Here's the thing. We ended up in a life, 3 kids, and we just felt hopeless.
Now it's so funny. So half of this was a date night. Do you see date night over here? Okay, half of this is like our diet and half of this is like we just escaped 3 children for the night. And that is just what tired parents look like, all right? Does anybody else have a picture that could be your picture, right? Just a face. Yeah, exactly. But yes, we felt totally hopeless until we found keto. Because keto changed everything for us.
So in 2017, I entered into a weight loss bet with a bunch of guys at church, including the pastor. Kind of interesting bet, huh? And but this weight loss bet was not pounds. It was you have to lose fat. So we all had to go down and have some woman measure us with body calipers. That's super embarrassing to be a bunch of guys getting your, fat rolls pinched and everything. And most of us decided to join a CrossFit because one of the members of the church owned a CrossFit and he gave a deal to church members, $50.
Great deal.
If you know anything
Not
about
sustainable.
CrossFit, you know that is an insane deal on CrossFit. Usually CrossFit's about $150 a month. And so, of course, when 90% of your clientele is only paying $50, you can't operate a CrossFit. So he closed. And then I was like, now what do I do? And I was like, we've tried every diet, nothing works. I want this $1,000. My son is in this bet, and I've got to beat him. By the way, he won. He was 21 years old at the time, and he could afford $150 for CrossFit. So he found a CrossFit and kept doing it. But for me, I had heard rumblings of keto. It happened to be that Danny Vega was in our church and he had just moved over to the west coast of Florida. But I'd known about him and he had left rumblings of keto in our church. And years ago I had done Atkins and it worked until I got to the carb reintroduction phase.
And then it's standard American diet again.
Yeah. And so I went to Rachel and I said, hey, I really want to do this keto thing. Is it okay if I do it? And she said, you can do it so long as it doesn't cost our family 1 penny.
Because I had no idea what keto was. And I assumed that any diet is going to require a whole bunch of supplements and we're going to have tiny packaged food that costs like $27 and is just going to leave me upset. I had no idea. Did you know that you can do keto on just hot dogs and mustard? Have you ever heard that before? Like, it's amazing. You can do keto on hot dogs and mustard.
Yeah. And so I said, I'm going to do this. And I asked her to come along with me. Now, a little dirty, dark secret. I didn't ask her to come along with me because I wanted her to get healthy. I asked her to come along with me because at the time, Rachel was eating 500 calories a day of plain oatmeal with no milk, no sweetener, and yogurt. She ate that for 2 years. And I knew that if I was eating burgers and hot dogs and bacon, and she was eating yogurt and oatmeal, she was going to divorce me.
We're going straight for divorce court. So I went ahead and joined him, and I was happy to, because I was currently on a very severely restrictive diet, 500 calories, and I gained 70 pounds. Gained 70
And that
pounds.
is why counting calories doesn't work. Autumn talked about it yesterday, eating below our BMR for too long. Rachel ate below her BMR for so long, she lost a bunch of weight and then gained 70 pounds back doing that. Well, in the first 30 days of keto, I lost 20 pounds.
And I lost nothing. I'm so extra that way, right? Like, I'm just so good at it. So, of course, I was afraid and dipped out.
Yeah, and I continued on keto. But when I started keto, like a lot of people, I started keto for weight loss. I didn't know anything about any of the health benefits, reversal of diabetes. I didn't know about anything. And what ended up happening, if you remember, I said that I had started in February in the middle of lacrosse season and decided that I was done with lacrosse. Well, now it was football season. I came home from 5 football games on a South Florida football field. And Rachel's like, do you need a painkiller? Because she was used to me. I came home, I took a painkiller. And I looked at her and I said, I haven't taken a painkiller in 6 months.
Not only had he not taken a painkiller in 6 months, he didn't need arthritis medication anymore. And so when I started seeing him get well, by that following year, I was like, I'm gonna jump back in. And you know what? We both got well. And I'm so thankful for that. And then we brought my mom on board, who was a 20+ year type 2 diabetic, no longer a type 2 diabetic. When she started keto, she had been diagnosed where she was gonna have to get stents put into her heart. From the time of the diagnosis to getting into the hospital took a couple of months. You guys know, sometimes it takes a little bit to get into the hospital. She had been doing keto during that time. They wheeled her back to the operating room and wheeled her right back on that day, and the doctor says, I don't know what happened, but all of the blockages are gone. We don't need to do surgery today. So we're super thankful for that. So that's a lot of exciting things. That's fun stuff to talk about.
Now, the cool thing is you have all these fun things, and then you get to your goal, you've accomplished your health goals, you've hit that number on the scale, and then we say,
now what? Now, okay, all right, good night. But like I'm still here though. Like we still have more presentation, Joe.
Yeah.
So that can't be the end of the story.
So what do you do?
Well, follow the shampoo bottle, okay? So the shampoo directions are shampoo, rinse, repeat. Has anybody ever wondered, like, why are there directions on a shampoo bottle? There's not directions like that on an Oreo package, right? They're not like, come back tomorrow, same amazing experience. No, but for somebody, apparently there was a letter written, okay? And they said, I don't get this. I'm walking out to my work and my hair is full of suds. And so they say, shampoo, then rinse it out. And then repeat the process again.
Now,
but
I know
that's
you
very
may be,
challenging.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's
I
okay.
know you may be asking, I don't understand, now what? You've accomplished all of your goals. But here's the thing. Some of you may have experienced this. As you're losing weight, especially if you lose a lot of weight, or you reverse your diabetes, or you fix your 30 years of arthritis, you get a bit of a high when you see people. For example, you show up on a lacrosse field a year later weighing 100 pounds less, and a coach walks up to you and says, I heard your voice and I spent 5 minutes looking for you because you don't look like the same person. You get a high from that.
Yeah.
When people are like, oh my gosh.
Who are you?
But
You have surgery, what happened?
when you've been here for a while, nobody's amazed anymore.
No, everybody like Barb and Russ back here go to church with us. When we first lost the weight, it was like, wow, and everybody's coming to, no one comes up and is like, wow, Rachel, what are you still doing? Right? They just expect that I should look like this forever, right? Now, the only time that someone's going to tap back in with me is if you see more junk in my trunk, and then they're gonna be like, what's wrong? What's happening to you, right?
Yep.
That's when they tap back in.
The other thing that happens is we settled into a size. There was no more excitement from going and having to get new clothes.
Because that was an amazing thing, right? Do you remember when you started shopping again after you started keto? And it was like, it stopped being like this terrible experience, and you're like, where's the bathing suit section? Because this mama is getting a bikini this year, right? Yeah? Eventually, you settle into your size, and you're like, no, give me a smaller size. And then you're in that room, and you're like, oh, man, no, this was it. Okay, no, can I get another size? Like one bigger? Yeah, it is.
And then the other thing that happens is you get a high when you see the scale, and it's going down and down, but eventually the scale stops moving.
Yeah.
And then sometime you get a worldwide pandemic that causes a whole bunch of stress, and you put a few pounds back on.
Yeah.
Yep. And what ends up happening is you start saying to yourself, this isn't fun anymore.
This is not as fun as it used to be. I want to encourage you right now that if that sentence has ever crossed your mind, you're not alone. Everybody thinks that. Man, this used to be super fun, and this is not as fun as it used to be. And when you come to that sentence, a fork goes in your road, and you either quit or you decide to move forward anyway, even if it's not as fun as it used to be. But today we're going to be talking about, why do people quit? Why do people take the path of quitting?
Yeah, and we've got a few reasons of why they quit. The first one is they forgot why they were doing this to begin with.
Yeah, and that happens a lot. Our why has changed a lot over the years. In 5 years, I started out for weight loss. My why changed to health momentum, right? When I realized that keto could speak into depression and anxiety and type 2 diabetes. But then I may need a new why 2.0, and thanks to my oldest son, John Paul, we got a new 2.0 why. We have a grandbaby on the way. Thanks to beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, by the way, just as a side note.
So this is our oldest child, John Paul, with his wife, Michelle. And yeah, they got pregnant on beef, butter, bacon, and egg. And they are not strict keto, but they're both fitness people. You know, they incorporated beef, butter, bacon, and egg, and within like 3 weeks, she was pregnant. And it's really cool because we're excited about having a grandchild. Because I didn't think I would ever see a grandchild. I figured I would be dead before I got a grandchild. And now we're gonna get to be there for it. But my why now is I wanna give to my grandchild what I couldn't give to my children. John Paul and Michelle recently went to Universal Studios with, and John Paul looked up at Rachel and said, you know, I've never been to a theme park with Dad without him in a wheelchair.
It was a huge experience. But there are some tips for building this new why.
The first one is your why needs to be visible. And I don't mean being visible with like my son with his pregnant wife standing in front of me. I mean, it needs to be visible everywhere you look. For example, I have a picture of the sonogram picture of my grandchild to be on my computer screen. I spend hours in front of the computer screen. I've also recently learned, please put on blue blockers when you're looking at a computer screen, because that puts off worse light than the sun itself. That's a side note. But it needs to be everywhere. Rachel's got Post-it notes on the steering wheel in her car, on the flip-down visor. We have scripture verses all over the house, on our mirrors. You need to have your why or your whys everywhere. Opening up the refrigerator. Don't eat this. This is why.
Yeah. The next thing is your why needs to be protected. I'm here to tell you right now, 10% of people don't like you just because they don't like you. There's no reason and there's nothing you can fix. We get at least 5 emails a day where someone says to me, I don't like Rachel's face. There's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing I will do about that, okay? So, my parents wanted to put a deck on their house. This is a great instance. The homeowners association said, no problem. You just need to get your neighbors on either side to agree to that. One neighbor, absolutely, you gotta let me fish on it. Yeah, of course. The other neighbor, no, I don't want you to get a deck. Why don't you want me to get a deck? Because if you get a deck, then your property value is going to go up and my property value is going to go down. And that's the same thing with your health journey. There are some people that are just going to discourage you because if you get healthy, then they're going to have to reevaluate what they're doing. So you protect it. One of my favorite stories in the Bible is the story of Joseph, and the message there is you don't share your dream with everybody, right? Okay.
The third thing about your why is your why needs to be measurable. Okay? Do not use feelings for your why, to measure your why. Why don't we use feelings? Because your feelings can change. You could have a bad day at work. You could slip up somewhere. Too many things affect our feelings. You need to have a measurable thing. Is your A1C going down? Is your clothes getting looser? I will strongly encourage you, do not use the scale to measure yourself. We have a saying on our channel, the scale is the devil and the mirror is a liar. Why do I say the scale is the devil? Because the scale tells me one of two things every time I get on it. Either A, you're a loser because you didn't lose any weight and you're doing something wrong. And as we heard earlier, the scale can go up and down by 5 pounds in a day. I have gotten on the scale, gone to the restroom, gotten back on the scale, and it went up. How is that possible?
How?
Right?
It does.
I will never forget 2 years ago, I did a 72-hour fast. 48 hours into it, I was up 6 pounds. I remember messaging, I don't think she's here anymore, Kim Howerton going, what is going on? She goes, how much salt are you eating and how much liquid are you drinking?
She said, can we stop the insanity, Joe?
Right? So, too many things affect that scale. If you want to use a scale, get a Renfo scale, get a Bod Pod type of scale, something that measures your body fat percentage and your lean body mass, and use that to measure your success. But I would rather you use photos, measurements, clothes, something that you can really look at, your lab work, those kind of things, something that is tangible that you could measure and track.
Yep.
The next one is your why needs to be celebrated.
It needs to be celebrated. You better bet that this grandma is like in the store picking out clothes, like, you know, all kinds of stuff.
The baby shower's in 4 months and we already own everything we need for it.
Yeah, we are ready. Like if she drops that baby like today, like I am prepared to like house it, right? So you need to celebrate your why. But you know what? Changing up your why is not the only reason why people quit.
The other reason some people quit is because pain is no longer a motivator. They've forgotten about it. For example, I haven't experienced pain in my ankle in 5 years. I no longer have a handicap sticker. I remember the day that I was like, oh, my handicap sticker on my car needs to be renewed, but Florida changed the rules and you now have to get a new letter from the doctor. And my doctor's like, you're not handicapped anymore, so no. And I looked at Rachel and I saved it. It expired in 2017. And I saved it and I look at Rachel and I used to need this. I don't need it anymore. But I don't remember the pain. You know, people walk up to me all the time. I still walk with a severe limp because I lost a lot of the range of motion in my ankle. And they're like, are you okay? I'm like, oh, I forgot I was limping. I don't remember it. But sometimes if you forget your pain, we need to look back.
Sometimes I just take a trip to CVS or Walgreens and I just start adding up, like, yep, I bought that over-the-counter medicine and that one and that one and that one. Every week it was this and this. And of course now I add it up so I can put it in my ribeye budget. But I need to revisit. I used to use all of these things. I go to Home Depot and I get a 20-pound bag of rock and I just carry it around Home Depot like a weirdo. Like, visit me. Coral Springs, Home Depot. I'll be there. Sometimes when I just need that pick-me-up. To just carry around and say, like, not only is this heavy and ridiculous for me to carry around all the time, more than 5 of these bags used to walk with me everywhere I went. You need to look back.
We encourage our subscribers to share their stories. Again, community is extremely important to us. You cannot do this without community. Too many of us have doctors and coworkers and friends and family members that don't understand this lifestyle, and you need community. And we ask people, please share your story for two reasons. Number one, because there is somebody out there right now that is going through what you've gone through, what is going through what you are currently going through, and they think they're alone. And when you share your story on social media or in events like this, they're like, oh, somebody else gets it. And they continue on. The other reason we tell you to share your story is because your story is going to help you to remember where you came from. If you look back at old photos of yourself, if you save that outfit that barely fits now, and in 2 years when you're down 100 pounds and you're swimming in it, that's gonna help you to look back and remember where you came from. That's gonna help you to not quit. Now, we are in this amazing hotel that has that really
Beautiful.
cool, winding river outside. So we have a lifeguard warning for you.
What was once a miracle can become mundane. Sometimes I have to remember, we practice gratitude daily. We are very intentional about positivity in our life. But I have to remember, that there has been a long time since I have contemplated harming myself. And I have to remember that is a miracle. That is a miracle that I love my life. It is a miracle that I look in the mirror now and I say, Rachel, you are a woman that is worth investing in. So sometimes it's just important for us to don't let that get away from you. Don't think you're such a great swimmer in this gratitude and positivity that you don't need to really remember where you came from.
So we have two questions we want you to ask yourself. Number one, have I settled for good when I really want great?
And also, have I made peace with some pain? Because pain can be a motivation still if you've got new territory to take. Sometimes we're like, gosh, I do not need weekly cortisol shots in my heels to walk anymore. So you know what? I'm good. If I no longer have to have this one health ailment, then the rest of it I don't need to work on because gosh, this was so painful before, now I'm okay. So is there more ground to take? That's what gets us so excited. That's why we're doing this stupid sleep study right now in the month of August to see if getting better sleep could make us feel better because we want to take new territory in wellness.
Yep. Now, the third reason that a lot of people quit keto is because they allow feelings to get into the way.
Yeah, and feelings are not final, but if you depend on them, they can become fatal, right? If I'm basing feelings on, do you want a mom today? It'd be no, drop these kids someplace else. I'm not even, they would call your name and you're I don't see a mom here. I don't know who you're talking to. Because that is based on feelings, right? If you base what you eat on feelings, how do I feel today, then you will choose different every day. If I'm happy, I'm going to do something much different than if I feel like I need to be consoled.
Yeah, one thing we need to remember is that the food is our fuel for our purpose, but it is not our purpose. Food needs to just be a fuel for your body. We shouldn't be living to eat, okay? We eat to live. And we think about feelings. I don't know if anybody's experienced this, but when I was going into Publix and buying 25 packages of Oreo cookies because they were buy one, get one free, nobody said a word.
No.
But I go into Publix and buy 10 dozen eggs and 5 packages of bacon, and there has never been a time that somebody didn't come up to me and go, that's gonna kill you. Right? You didn't care when I was buying the sugar, and there have been times when I'm maybe I shouldn't do this. Maybe they're right.
No, so you cannot let feelings rule you. And I'm sorry to say that I really embrace that, I am what I eat. I am so much more than that. I am beautifully and wonderfully made. I have a purpose. I have people to reach. I have people to love. I have relationships. I have a life to share. I am so much more than what is on my plate. And I think that something that we can start doing is let's treat the root and stop treating the fruit. It's okay to have emotions. We have emotions. Let's figure out why I'm angry. Do I need to have a tough conversation with my boss at work? Do I need to maybe go to bed earlier? Am I sad because, hey, I miss somebody that I need to take some time and celebrate them and maybe do something positive with this morning? We can have emotions. Let's handle them with something that will actually resolve some issues, not just put a piece of food on it, right? And do nothing.
Yeah, people ask us all the time, well, are you going to gain the weight back? And I'm going to tell you this. Might not want to hear this. No diet, including keto, carnivore, the proper human diet, will work long-term to maintain and lose weight long-term. No diet. The only thing that will work is changing your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you come on to keto as a diet and then get the feeling like, okay, I'm good, I'm going to go off, I'm going back to the standard American diet, I will put money on that you'll gain the weight back.
Yeah.
Because we have not addressed this yet. We heard Jonathan talking about it a little earlier. We have to address here what got us heavy first. Why were we overeating? Yes, some of it is the standard American diet and the food that they've pushed on us, but some of it is because a lot of us eat to our emotions.
Right.
And we have to work on those feelings.
So how do we bring the fun back? Is there hope for fun? Because I'm all about the fun.
Well, we have a few tips to keep it fun so that you can stay keto. The first one is you need to recognize your limits and you need to celebrate your boundaries.
So nuts are perfectly keto, but they are not perfectly Rachel keto, okay? Because I've never seen a bag of nuts that I didn't want to see the bottom of the bag of nuts, okay? So nuts are much more keto for Joe than they are from Rachel. I used to have a lot of shame with that. I used to be like, I need to be a better person, harder keto, I don't know, stronger. I want words like savage thrown toward me, right? No one's ever said like, Rachel, you're so savage about your keto, right? No, I'm like floofy keto. So, but that's okay. Now I embrace it. I remember there was a time that I did not know what the problem was. So I couldn't fix anything. Now that I know, hey, I have trouble with it, nuts right here, have problems with nuts, I can handle that, right? I can do something with it.
We talked about it when we first came up, beef, butter, bacon, and egg. We did it as an elimination diet. I learned something. I love cheese.
Love it.
Autumn mentioned it yesterday. 1 ounce is not enough. It's just not.
It's a tease.
Who's ever only eaten 1 cheese stick? Like, I need
Not
like
this guy.
20 of them. You give me, we cannot in our house buy sliced cheese because I'm not stopping at 1 slice. 1 slice is a serving, but I'm having like 10. I need to buy cheese one of 2 ways. Either pre-shredded because I'm not gonna just take hunks of it, or buy it in a block because then I have to physically look at how much am I taking off the block. I learned something on beef, butter, bacon, and egg. I love cheese, but cheese bloats me. But what I learned is I'm still gonna eat cheese, but at least now I know what it's gonna do to me.
Right.
You know? So I celebrate that. I put it, it's not an unlimited food for me. Beef is an unlimited food for me. Cheese isn't.
What's something else that you can do to maintain your enthusiasm?
You could do something once you've improved your health.
Do
And I
something
think
with
this
it.
is a mistake that a lot of people make. You lose all the weight, you get healthy, you're no longer a type 2 diabetic, you no longer have arthritis, and then we get right back on the couch and do what we were doing before.
Nothing. I was a couch holder downer, a professional one, really. I mean, based on the hours that I put into it. So yeah, you need to do something with this health. Let's not just get a smaller size, let's get a bigger life.
And I got 2 things for you to do. Number 1, you're gonna get a bigger life, but the other thing you need to do is you need to go tell somebody about it. Don't keep this to yourself. The AMA, the ADA, nobody is out there telling anybody about this. Nobody is out there. I remember growing up, my mother would go, we know the cure for cancer. She's in medical oncology. We know the cure for cancer. It's the environment and what we eat. But she was like, the average cancer patient's worth $300,000 to the medical industry. Do you think they really want us to know that? We need to tell people about this. If you have success, go share your story. Tell somebody else about it, okay? What did we do? COVID decision, we bought an RV.
We started camping.
We decided we have all of this energy. We went and we started another YouTube channel called Two Crazy Campers. And our intro for our thing is we each lost over 100 pounds and we had so much energy we didn't know what to do. So we've taught ourselves how to stand up paddleboard at the age of 51. We go kayaking, we go hiking, we go bicycling. We enjoy our life.
And we are going to be prepared for a granddaughter to enjoy it as well.
Next one is you need to stop circling your decisions and make a decision.
It is very fatiguing on our minds to look into the mirror every morning and ask ourselves, am I keto or am I not keto today? I know I rolled up on somebody's plan for the week, but let's stop that plan, right? Let's make a decision. If I am keto and I look in the mirror and I'm like, I'm keto, I'm done, that's it, that's me forever. All of my decisions are so easy to make after that, right? If I go to a party, there's a cupcake, there's a hot dog, I'm going for the wiener. I'm a wiener every time. In every race, I'm a wiener, right? It's an easy decision to make.
Yeah. We need to make our decision of what we want to do. Don't look at this a weekend, oh, it didn't work, I'm going to change my mind. Like Dr. Barris, give it 90 days. Whatever. If you want to go from keto to carnivore, give the 90 days. Don't make it difficult to say, if you can't stay keto, don't try carnivore. You couldn't stay keto. Get good at keto first, okay? We recently had a coaching client go, well, I really don't, I think it's not working. I want to do beef, butter, bacon, and I'm like, have you been able to go 1 week without any sugar yet? No. Let's try to do that first, okay? Let's do that first. But just make a decision of what you want to do. And we have some ways you can do this by collecting some personal data.
So you need to be on the lookout for non-food related rewards. The beautiful bronze diamonds right there is my reward for adulting today. I got myself 2 lipsticks and I feel good about it. I feel good about myself, all right? You know, one thing I'm like, is my lips gonna look that luscious? Like how luscious are your lips? Okay, not that luscious, but I'm working on it, all right? And that lipstick really helps.
What we are going to encourage you to do is please do not make the mistake we made with ourselves and with our children, and that is do not ever use food as a reward. Don't use food as a reward. Go buy yourself some clothes. One of the things we started doing with our kids, you want a birthday party? How about we go to Universal Studios? One year we bought our kids annual passes for a birthday party. No birthday party, no cake, nothing. We're gonna buy you an annual pass for Universal Studios. Find something else to reward yourself with other than food.
Exactly.
Because that is just gonna bring us back to the problem that we had before. It's one of the reasons I tell people, if you fall off the wagon for the day, great. Very next meal, pick up and get back right where you were. Don't go do an extended fast. Don't go run on the treadmill, because all you're doing there is purge and binge, or binge and purge. That's all you're doing. It's just a different form of it. Just go out and find a different way. Every 10 pounds, I'm going to go to the thrift store until I get to my goal. I'm going to buy myself a new outfit.
That's what I do.
I'm going to go to a movie. Recently, we had one of our subscribers said, when I hit a goal weight, I was going to do something crazy. So she was 70 years old. She colored her hair purple.
Yeah, and it's awesome.
I mean, it looked
awesome.
amazing, right?
Yeah.
So, but just find a way to reward yourself other than using food.
The next thing is stop comparing yourself to others. Can we leave that in the seat today? Because I got news for you. The Instagram story ain't the whole story.
If you saw the amount of pictures it takes for Rachel to put one photo on.
Just woke up like this 25 times. It's been 2 hours since you woke up, Rachel. Right? You pressed those pajama pants. That is not the whole story. So if I only base I'm a good person based on what am I peopling as good as this hot woman over here, then I am just going to be depressed and want to quit.
Yeah. And not only we don't want you to compare yourself to how somebody's succeeding. Don't even compare your diet. We are all different.
Yes.
Okay. You heard Dr. Berry earlier say some people lose weight by eating higher fat. Some people have to lower the fat. We are all different. I love what Dr. Berry's beautiful wife says all the time. Nisha talks about what kind of keto? What's the best? We get this question all the time. What is the best form of keto? Rachel keto.
Joe
keto. What's the best one? The one that is sustainable for you.
Yeah.
People will ask me, How many carbs should I start out with? As few as possible. I'm not going to give you a maximum. Why? Because when I give you a maximum, you're going to want to hit the maximum, right? Autumn talked about it yesterday.
See the maximum.
When we got started on keto, I remember sitting at the end of the day, okay, well, I've had all my protein. I've still got 28 grams of fat left and 3 carbs. What can I fit in there? I'm going to eat a stick of butter. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't get, to me, you want to eat as few carbs as possible. Every single day. Sometimes it may be 5, sometimes it may be 20 because you had some vegetables or something. You know, keto-friendly products and things like that. Here's the thing. If you need that to get started, to make it sustainable, fine. Your goal needs to be whole foods eventually. But if you would have come to me 5 years ago and said you are never, ever having a piece of chocolate again, I would have said, peace out. Not doing it. Now, do I eat it now? Almost never. But you need to figure out what is sustainable for you and don't compare what is sustainable for somebody else. Carnivore is not sustainable for me. It's just not. I could probably do it for 30 days or 45 days or maybe even 90 days, but there is no way I'm never in my life going to want to not have a jalapeno popper. So it's not sustainable for me.
By the way.
Dr. Sean Baker, that man is a maniac. He eats steaks for his birthday. Like that's his birthday cake. Stuff piles them high. I can't do that, okay? So figure out what's sustainable for you.
You need to clarify your who so you can clarify your do. If I look in the mirror and I say, Rachel, you are worthy of investment, then every action I take the rest of the day needs to verify that, right? And it's easy to. So am I gonna go get my nails done when I wanna get my nails done? Yes, because I'm worthy of investment, right? Am I gonna go exercise today? Yes, I am. Why? Because it's worthy of my time to do this. Am I gonna buy quality food? Yes, I am, because I'm worthy of investment. So we need to identify our who so that we can identify our do.
Yeah, it's funny, people come up to me and they're like, you are 51 years old, why are you wearing skinny jeans?
Look away.
Because I can. You know why? Because I spent my entire life in the husky section. And so I can wear a size 32 skinny jean at the age of 51 years old. I'm gonna wear them. You know what? Rachel and I were walking around the water park the other day. She's like, I'm so sorry, I've got these excess skin rolls from all the loose skin, and I've got them too. And Rachel will look at me and she goes, what about the excess rolls you have from all the skin? I'm like, you know what? It is a badge of honor. We lost 100 pounds apiece.
I can wave at everybody twice. So, growing up in a Southern household, we grew up with grits. Anybody else have every single breakfast, every single brunch? It was grits, right? So grits is a side dish. Now I have grit. We have resolve. I still have grit every single morning for breakfast, but it looks very different. It is a resolve that I know that every day I'm going to take new territory for health, and I'm going to cheer other people on to have better health. So I better tie up these sneakers. Why do I never wear high heels. Why? Because I got to keep running. We've got stuff to do and people to love.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Now that we know what we can do to not quit, we need to have a party.
Yes.
But what do we need for a party?
Guests. Of
We need
course.
guests. Well, here's the thing. Like we said, some people just don't have the support at home they need. But you have support. You have support in this room. I love this conference and conferences like in Louisville at Keto Palooza, which we will be there, by the way. Make sure you're signed up to go.
It's gonna be fun.
Absolutely love Autumn. Autumn is one of our closest friends in this community. You need community. And if you don't have anybody at home, there is an entire online community. I challenge you, do not go home from this conference without the names and emails of at least 5 new people. Because when you're having that off day, when you're like, I don't know what to do, maybe I should quit, find one of those names that you met and connect with them. We tell people on our time, people come to us in our Facebook group all the time, they're like, I don't have anybody. And I say, go on our group, go in Mighty Networks, go on Facebook and say, I need an accountability partner. And I am amazed at how many people go, I will be your partner. You just call me. We provide coaching, but you don't need coaching. We have an entire community. We do it for the people who just, I need to go from here to there and that's it. But there's so many free resources out there. We tell people all the time, we have 40,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, which still amazes me, like why anybody wants to watch us. We have over 11,000 people in our Facebook and our Mighty Networks group, and we tell people, if you are active in our group, if you are actively chatting, if you are posting things in our group, if you are in our live streams, we know who you are.
Yeah. And we want to know you better. And we believe that resolve is strengthened in community. If you're like, gosh, I really wish I could get a case of like, I want to do this and get resolve, get in community. That is the gym. Community is the gym for resolve. That's where you're going to strengthen those muscles. So somebody needs to download Clubhouse, get that app on their phone. Somebody needs to join a Facebook group or a Mighty Networks group, get involved in the community, and keep coming out to these conferences.
Yeah, so where can you find us? You can find us on YouTube. We upload at least 5 new videos every week, plus 2 live streams. We are absolutely crazy to do that, but we have done it for 4 years now. We also have our YouTube channel for our camping. It's Two Crazy Campers. We have Twitter and Facebook, and we have Instagram. I have no idea how to use Instagram. That is all Rachel.
I don't know either. I'm sorry for our Instagram.
We have our website, and then you can find us on our Mighty Networks. We absolutely love Mighty Networks, thanks to Nisha Berry, because there is no ads on there. We pay for it so that you don't get bombarded with ads, and there is no kind of censorship from Facebook banning people because they use the word fat. So you can find us there at members.twocrazyketos.com. And coming at the end of this month, we're even going crazier and starting a podcast.
Yes,
so,
the Two Crazy Ketos podcast is next.
So.
Thanks so much for having us. We really appreciate you.